record. There we go. I'm going to have to set that up so it does it automatically. Because sometimes I forget. Okay. Hope you're all doing well today. Clear and logical transitions between the introduction, body, and conclusion. Transitions, we kind of talked about those. Next is an example. Following that, or now that we've talked so much about this, let's talk about this. Those kinds of things are transitions. They take your paragraphs and put them together with like glue. So you'll need to do transitions, of course. And again, this is an advanced writing class. So you guys learned how to do the transitions already. I expect to see them. As I always do, though, before you turn this in, and probably next week, early next week, I'll have your final rubric. So when you're writing your paper, you can look at how it's going to be graded. Pardon me for 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So we need the body paragraphs. We know that. But in your body paragraphs, you guys are going to have to produce evidence that supports the thesis, which is called a warrant. Okay. Now, when I think about a warrant, I think about cop shows. So the word itself, I think about cop shows, and I think about a cop showing up at somebody's house, and they say, "We want to search the premises," and the people of the house say, "Not without a warrant, you're not." Okay. Now you can tell the police, "Yeah, go ahead and check if you want to. It's up to you." They can't force themselves in without that warrant or with something called probable cause, but we won't worry about probable cause because we're talking about warrant. Now, a warrant is a written thing that says you can go search this property because there's probable cause that we might find something that will incriminate in a crime. So that's what a warrant is from the police. But this is a little different from that. It's different, but I want to have you remember it the same way. Okay. You just saw that image of the police coming to the door, serving that paper that's called the warrant. Okay. So I want you to think of it as the law. Okay. And it's a different kind of law. So we're going to call it the law you create. That's what we'll call it. Okay. The law that you create. That's what the warrant is. Now, sometimes this will be something already in law. For example, if someone shoots someone and they planned it and they find in their diary that they said, "I'm going to shoot this person tomorrow," and the warrant says if someone premeditates their shooting, then it is first-degree murder. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just giving you a writing example, but some of you will grow up to be lawyers, and an English major is a great way to start that path. Those of you that won't be lawyers, you are going to use critical thinking in your life, so it's really a good thing to follow a warrant. So instead of just thinking about a thesis statement as what's my topic, which that is important, but more important than that, you have to develop a law. You have to develop your own law or your own warrant for something. Like I just said, the warrant for the person who shot someone is that if they shoot someone, it's for sure homicide, for sure, because they shot someone. Question is it justifiable homicide? There's a lot of talk about that these days. I think some of you know what I'm talking about in the news. I don't want to get into politics or news that much in here, but the question is, was it self-defense or was it something that's justifiable? And there's hot arguments on both sides right now about that topic. And there have been for many, many years, many, many decades, many, many centuries. And so as rhetorical writers, rhetorical just means you know the rules of logic, then you're going to use them. As rhetorical writers, we need a warrant for our paper. So let me give you a quick example and then we'll move on. Everyone should play guitar. Okay, that's what I want to write about. As you can see, I like guitars. Got a bass guitar over here, regular guitar over here. So everyone should play guitars, all right? Well, that can be quickly proven false because what about somebody with no arms? Although I have seen people play guitar with their feet. It's amazing. The people that can do it are really good at it. But everyone, no, I don't think everyone. So we need to take off everyone. So our law is not going to work if we say everyone plays guitar. We need to make a better law. So how about everyone interested in guitar? Oop, I got rid of everyone, didn't I? Forget that. People interested in guitar can learn online. Whoa, now we're bringing it down a little bit, okay? We made some qualifiers. Which people are we talking about? We're talking about people who are interested. Okay, that's one group. So, and we'll get into that more. I have a little generator that we're going to go through together. It'll be fun. But this won't be super long. They usually aren't, and I do that for a reason, because when I was in my classes, the professors gave us time to kind of internalize all this stuff, do the readings, and do the assignments if there's any assignments with the reason. But sometimes there don't have to be assignments. You can just read it on your own to try and make a better paper. And I would recommend you go back even and read the parts of the chapters that were interesting to you and write down things that you find it interesting, and then keep that little book, because that's going to help you write your paper. Okay, so warrant, I think we're pretty clear on that, what that looks like. We'll do some more examples of it before we hang up today. Evidential support is crucial. You have to give evidence, okay? And I'm just going to read what she's written here, because I think it's really well written, and I don't think I could approve upon it. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. So read along with me in your head. The argumentative essay requires well-researched, accurate, very important, accurate, detailed, and current information to support the thesis statement and consider other points of view. Do you remember what that's called? It's just a rhetorical question. Rhetorical question. But what that's called is a rebuttal. Okay, when you take the other point of view and I don't want to say attack it, but you find the logical problems with it and you state them, you acknowledge the other point of view, then you're less likely to be attacked on that point, because you've already handled the rebuttal. So that's going to be different from last year. You're going to put that in your second evidentiary paragraph. I think you're getting that. Okay. It's really hard to lecture to a bunch of names, but I'm doing it. I'm going forward with it, guys. And I appreciate everybody contacting me. I've had quite a bit of contact this semester. I love it. It's at different times in my day, which is fine. I have the kind of job where it allows me to do that. Plus, I have another job that also allows me to do that, where I'm free a lot of the day to respond. So don't ever feel bad about sending me a message. Question. Okay, a conclusion that does not simply restate the thesis, but readdresses it, okay, in light of the evidence provided. So I would like all of you really to have this page, because this is not your rubric, but it is pretty much super important. See if I can do a chat on this. Okay, so if you guys go to the chat, I'm sending this to everyone. Please go to this link that I'm on now. And if you can, make it a bookmark. You should have a folder on your bookmark bar. If you can make those, obviously you can see mine. You should have a folder of 104, where you're putting your 104 things. And I would definitely put this in there, because it's going to have a lot to do with your rubric. And the rubric will just be like boom, 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 boom. But this explains every part. So I think it's a good thing to have. And I might just say, go look at that. Go look at the Al at Purdue link that I put in chat. So that's up to you. I mean, it needs to be done, but I can't do it for you. That's what that's up to you means. A conclusion that does not simply restate the thesis. This is such an important part of this class. We are moving, actually, I can say we're moving up, absolutely, because we had a prereq, now we went to this, and you don't want to just simply restate the thesis. Like I told you last semester, that's sometimes a good approach. But when you're doing an advanced argumentative essay, it's almost insulting to just say, well, everybody should play guitar. like I said, everybody should play guitar. That's not advanced writing. Advanced writing messes with that thesis to a particular audience, gives the logic, gives the warrant, and makes the thesis based on the warrant. And I'm giving you a lot, and I know that. So hang in there. A complete argument. Please look at this later when we hang up and when you have some time this evening, maybe. It's not very long, it's only one page. But as I've shared with you before, the OWL at Purdue is the premier spot for academic writing, especially when you're starting to write it yourself. So this should be something you go to for the next 4 years, 5 years of your life, the rest of this year, plus when you go to college. You want this on a bookmark, okay? For any kind of writing, psychology writing, crime writing, whatever kind of job you have that has writing, this is going to be helpful to you. So just know that. Okay, moving on. This is from your text, and you might remember reading it. It says listing important ideas. Okay, we are at the point now, and I know that I have not led you through going to the library yet. I have not, and that's my responsibility to make sure you guys know how to do research. But we did do it last semester, so I'm fairly confident you know how to get books on your topic. If you don't, I am going to put up, I'll probably do it in an email, and then I'll put it up in the assignments. It'll be for 0 points, but it's stuff about the library at our college, and you can get into that, and you can actually get full books online, and you can write them in as books. So be thinking about that, because it's time. It's time to be getting other sources. I want you to have uh, at least 3 sources that support your opinion, but somewhere in there, you've got to have a fourth. Or if it's one of those books that has both opinions, it could just be 3, but you have to have something in there that I can point to, that you can point to and say, this is the opposing opinion. This source is a source of the other opinion. And what do you think you're going to use that for? Your rebuttal, like I was just talking about. So you're going to need to get together 4 sources. You might as well get started now. Start looking for them if you haven't already. Maybe there's a go-getter out there, or some go-getters that have already started researching. Clearly, you're going to do a very specific thesis, okay? And that needs to be getting going. Now, I have some things that have been turned into me that I haven't sent back yet, and I apologize for that. Some difficult things have happened in my life. I'm fine and my family's fine, but just changes that didn't allow me to make the video replies that I want to make. I still want to make them because I had office hours of a teacher when I was in 104 at Saddleback College. And we had to go into the office hours. In fact, it was in those office hours, the famous skulls story that I've told you about, how I said, I want to address all the skulls of evolution, the hominid skulls, which means human skulls, from monkey to man. And I want to show that they're all false. My teacher kind of chuckled. Actually, he didn't chuckle. He was very serious, very respectful. And he said, show me how you can do one. Just take one of them. He says some of them are easy to prove wrong because they actually are hoaxes. Um, Imagine that, something that really is a hoax. So I did my report on the one, and boy, it just changed my whole view of writing, because I didn't have to take on all this stuff. I just took on one, and it actually helped make my point. And he had a different point of view of me. He thought they were, you know, science, and he thought that they were, valid. And I've told you 100 times, my personal view is that now, yes, I agree with him. It took me many years, and I developed my own philosophy, and you guys will develop your own philosophy. But part of writing an argumentative essay is examining other points of view and maybe changing your mind. I guarantee you, you will learn things that in your life that will tempt you to change your mind. And I'm not here to say change your mind and believe in evolution, or believe in not in creation, or whatever your other view is about how humans came to be. But what I am saying is, if you have an opinion on something, you should not be afraid to look at what the other side thinks. And I need to see that in your rebuttal, which will probably amount to no more than 5 to 7 sentences, but it needs to be there, and it wasn't required in your previous classes. So, as we move toward getting sources, we talked about taking notes at the very beginning. I showed you the funny picture of the guy, saying take notes. Maybe I think he was talking to a movie star or somebody doing an interview, and they didn't know what was in their own movie. So he's like, maybe take notes. That's kind of funny. But this one here is sort of help for, and it was in your book, so you should have read it. Chapter 3, listing important. Sorry, I just sometimes I have heartburn in the morning because I don't eat breakfast and I just start drinking coffee. So if I go like this, I'll just go eat some food when I'm done here. Hopefully you guys ate your breakfast already. Do not learn from me on breakfast. I'm bad with breakfast. Okay. So what this is, guys, is no more than writing down quotes and ideas that you think are important. And I will say that this is a foundational thing that you must do when you write any paper in college. But this is a really easy way to do it. As you're reading something, just write down in your notes the things that you feel are important. And if you want, which I highly recommend, write down the actual quotes from the article or from the book that you found, from the source that you found important. And look what she also did. She put the page numbers. This is very helpful because when you're doing your works cited and you want to put an inline citation, you have the page number right there, which you are required to put per MLA format. And when you're doing this, this is going a little ahead, and you're not sure of the MLA format, where can you go? OWL Purdue. The OWL at Purdue. I mean, you could go anywhere. But one thing, you do get stuck in these, I call them paper mills. When you type in things like that about papers and argumentative paper, you get a lot of pages on Google that are trying to sell you papers. Do not do that. Okay, do not do that. If we discover at the college, and I'm sure the high school would back us, I know they would, and Ms. Porter, if we find out that somebody has bought a paper, um, I don't know what will happen in high school, but you will get kicked out of college for sure. Well, not for sure. It'll go before a board, but trust me, you don't want to go through that. It's not worth it. It is not. You might think it's so easy, just to $20 buy I think they're more than that. I don't even know what they are, but it's just, I really don't like those. Obviously, because I'm a teacher, I don't want to see kids not learn and just buy papers. But we have a method of finding out if you bought a paper. Um, it's called turnitin.com. You can check it out. It's a real place. They keep tabs on all those papers that are being sold and flown around. They also keep tabs on everything on the internet. And I don't exactly know how they do it, but don't just take something you found on the internet and turn it in. We will see automatically. All I do is press one button and it shows the red sources on your paper that have been lifted from different places on the internet. And I didn't talk about this before because we were face to face and stuff, and I just didn't feel like any of you were going to do that. But I need to just reiterate this semester that everything is green light. All I got to do is press a button, and I do with every paper. I run them through a checker, and it'll give me every one of your papers. It'll even tell me 2-3 words that it thinks might be from another source, and then it gives me the source, and I go to it. I think you're starting to get it. Don't do that. Don't do that. And even though I like you guys and you're great, I'm required, just like a cop is required when he sees a crime, I am required to report that immediately and not even notify you. So please don't do that. That would just be really bad for your college experience. Hopefully you agree with me on that and you're not even going to play around with it. Look at sources, okay? Write down the quotes or great ideas and where they came from. Here's one, the way they did this, and use them in your paper. When I got really high up in my master's degree, and I was writing papers a lot. One thing I did was I got 3x5 cards, and every time I would sit down with a source, I would do this on the cards. And the reason for that was I keep the cards over here by my computer. And when I was writing the paper, I'd take them and I'd take a clothespin, you know, the clothespin, when you're hanging your laundry out there, the pins that you get, they're real cheap. They're like $2 for like 100 of them. I'd take them and I would just click them right there. At that time, it was like my wall was my mirror. I'd click them on my mirror, but now it's a computer. So now you are the mirror. But anyway, the point is, I'm just being silly. That's how I did it. That way, when I needed a quote, I said, "What did that one say?" Oh, here it is. Okay, so then I put, say it's like Magnum. The name of the writer is their last name is Magnum. So I would just put Magnum quote one, and then I would write my own words and say Magnum quote two. Um, Gillette, another source. Gillette three quote there, and that's how I put my quotes in. And then when I was all done with my own thinking, which to me is the most important and must look the most fluid to the reader, so I don't want to be interrupted by getting sources while I'm writing. That was all done. Then all I had to do was go click them in. Or another way you could do it is like this. If you had this on a Word document or a Google Docs document, you could just paste this to the top of your paper. There's a quote, make a comment on it. Next paragraph, there's a quote, make a comment on it. You could do it that way. There's like unlimited ways. That's why pre-writing is so important, making your outline and such. And I told you what your outline is pretty much. Hopefully you wrote it down in your notes. Just like that sandwich again. Introduction, conclusion, 3 parts in the body. The middle one, you're going to put a rebuttal in. And then you're going to take it on. Talk about why it's not a good idea. Okay? So, anyway, I hope that helps. But you need to be getting your sources going and getting, if you want to use the 3x5 cards, I would really recommend that you all probably have laptops. I know you all have phones. I feel bad for that because my face is so tiny, but that's probably good. You can't see my face. But the point is, if you have laptops and stuff like that, it's probably better suited for writing your papers on the laptop, not the phone. I catch my daughters sometimes trying to do their homework. They're 13 and 15, and they try to do their homework sometimes on their phone. And I say, "How can you do that?" They say, "It's easy, Dad, because we can." That's what they say. But I say go traditional. Do it on a bigger computer if you can. All right. Please go through and read chapter 3 again. It's so helpful. I really don't think I need to interpret any of this to you guys because it's like this looking inward. You don't really need that. But the personal response can help. So read that and see if you want to put that in your essay. Some of you guys might want to make it just the facts. Look, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. And that's okay. You better be right, though. The personal approach to it, personal response, is a little bit easier to prove because it's your personal experience and nobody really can argue with that. But they can say, that's not true for me. That's what you want to avoid. You want to get them thinking, wow, I never thought of that. That is really what you're reaching for, is for your reader to say, wow, I never thought of that. Okay. Now, for this paper, it's the same as we did at the beginning of last semester. It is controversial topic. We're going to start broad, and then we're going to work our way down, learning new methods, different methods. I'm not going to teach you all the Toolman method, but we'll learn some other methods too. Even though Toolman is kind of the king of all argument theory, the claim, grounds, backing, warrant. You remember that I talked about? Here's what I gave you guys to watch, the slideshow that I had done. So where's my slideshow? I want to see the warrant. Okay, I guess it would be here. Okay, I might get into some controversial. So just understand, I am Mr. Neutral. Okay, there's some things I'm not neutral about. Let me give you an example of something I'm not neutral about, and I'm not gonna be neutral about. When people have cancer, there are companies that swoop in and they try to sell them fake cures, like shark fins. A while back, there was a guy trying to prove that shark fins could cure cancer. And the people that had cancer, especially in the late stages, were willing to try anything. They spent millions of dollars buying these shark fins, and it was just a powder. He would, make it all powdered up and then send it out, and no one was cured. And the guy was sued by these families, and he lost. Okay, so I say good riddance to his business, because there's no proof for it. He's just feeding on people's human emotions and fears of death, and he's profiting by it. That's an example of something I am not going to be neutral on. I'm going to tell you that is wrong. Now, could I write a paper defending him? Of course I could. Am I going to? Heck no. Okay. But things like Trump versus Biden, things like, Black Lives Matter, things like the things that are really hot right now in our culture, I'm not going to take a side on, because that's not my role. And I respect people on both sides. Try not to be too overly religious would be a personal advice. um, when you're dealing with these issues, try to look more at the facts. But other than that, and try not to be too not religious. Have respect for people who are religious as well. But I see that as a problem sometimes in first, second year writing. We have a lot of people that are just wanting to sort of just throw their beliefs that they've had all their life at the paper, and that's not what will help you. That's not going to help you think. We're here to help you think. So the way you think is by getting a warrant. Now, I don't know why this is so small, and it's not moving. Nothing's working normal for me today. Okay, there it is. I'm not going to show the video. I just want to show this one picture of how they set it up, so you guys kind of have an idea. There it is. Okay, so here's the most basic right here: introduction, main body, concluding section. The main body will have 3 sections. We know that. Uh-oh, I can't make this fingers go down. That wouldn't be good. But the finger in the middle, I need more coffee. The finger in the middle is the main body, and that has to have 3 parts, which you know already, and the middle part is going to have a rebuttal. Okay. When we meet again, it will either be Zoom or it will be a lecture like this. I kind of like the lectures better because I can chop stuff out. Like if I go, "Ooh, I have heartburn," I could chop that out. So I kind of personally I like those better. But I also like being here with you, and I'm going to have a question and answer time when I'm getting done here. So I do like being here in person more, but it is an asynchronous course, and at the college that means, in theory, you could check in anytime, watch your lesson, do the work, turn it in. Doesn't have to be at this exact time. That's what asynchronous means. So I worry though telling you that, because I feel like if I just do everything in, even though I'm allowed to, if I do everything in recorded lectures, some of you won't watch them, and that is a problem. But it's also a problem. See here, I'm doing my paper on this. Uh, when people log in, leave their name up there, take their video off, and then see ya, you know, go off and do their own thing. So I don't know really if it's happening either way. When you check in here, though, I do have your name electronically submitted every time when you log in to the lecture. So I do have that, and so that's a little better. But if you guys are turning in your stuff and you're paying attention and you're saying things that are in the reading, and not just regurgitating 101, because we're not in 101 anymore, this is 104, then I actually prefer the video method, but I'll be doing both. It'll be kind of a back and forth of both. And hopefully by spring, maybe the college will get back to face, but who knows? We'll just have to see. We're all in a waiting pattern on that. But until then, just understand that you're not just required to show up, look at the sources, go on with your day. You have to do what it says. You have to read the sources. You have to get your sources. You have to read them and take notes from them. That is part of the paper writing process. Somebody in my 101 said, you know, you said that the paper was going to be due fourth week. I did not say that. I said it was going to be started fourth week. And I said the same thing here. So I was glad to make that clear to them because they were all nervous. But they don't understand what start the paper means. This paper could take 2 weeks easily. And then once we get it done, the next ones won't take as long, just like kind of it was, last semester. But I want you to look at this is the basic structure here. And yeah, so in the main body, this is what I want to show you. And this will be the last thing, okay? You guys have been great. So we have in the main body, we have the main argument. Hold on. This is really good too. And this is I just went up and got this from a previous slideshow when you guys had to sit through it. So main argument, and then, okay, so here is the objection or the rebuttal. Videos are weird. They don't work like slideshows. Okay, reply. Good. I like the word reply because it's something you guys do on social media and also in email. Main argument, objection, or rebuttal, saying why that argument is bad, why your argument is bad, and then a reply to it. Take a look at that. I hope you're writing that down. I'll give you a second. You can probably do a screenshot too. That's another thing. If you know how to do a screenshot and then paste it into like, what do they call that? Paint. You could open up Paint. It's a very simple, I think they have Paint 3D now. Just paste it in there, save it into a folder. Oh, is it playing again? That was odd. It moved. Okay, so you guys see that? This is what I want you to see. You're going to have like reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, but reason 2 is going to be the one strategically put there in the middle where it says objection, where you're going to have an objection. You're going to have a rebuttal. Let me think of one that's pretty easy. Yeah. How about gun control? Okay. Oh, it's moving again. Oh, I guess it automatically moves. That's not good though. Okay. Anyway, hopefully you guys wrote that down because that's a big help. And let me get out of this. The last thing that I want to do is what's called, I don't know if I put it in here or not. Oh, my mother's calling. I'm almost done, Mom. I'll call you back. Okay, where is it? This thing comes down and gets in my way. Okay. I'm not seeing it now. Yeah, it's basically if you can remember your first paper we did last semester. It's exactly like that. The only difference that I'm really going to be looking for, and it's not due next week, so this is a time for you to be developing your sources and getting your sources. Um, but let me think of an example. How about gun control? Yeah. Okay, so one guy says, I am going to have my guns like my daddy had and like my grandpappy had. And, that's how they talk usually. So, okay. Or maybe they don't talk like that. Maybe they just say, you know, instead of grandpappy, they say, for decades, My educated family has had guns. Okay, all right. You shouldn't have them. And it's, again, that's not my point of view necessarily, or it's some gradient in between. And that's what making a thesis is all about. Um, so first paragraph will be like, kids are accidentally shot. And I talk about that. I give sources for that. Then in the next one, it says, let's think of one I could rebut, or he could rebut me on. Um, okay, so the amendment of having guns, the right to bear arms, was valid at a certain time in history, but is not valid now. Okay, I know that's a huge thing to say, but it's one I could think of an easy rebuttal to that. So his rebuttal will be this, and I'll present it like this. Some pro-gun activists say that there is just as much of a need to have your own gun now as there was in 1776. Or you pick the date, you find out, what they're talking about when that amendment came into being. And see, I would have to do some research there. You have to do research in your topic. So you need to start writing down what are the things you need to research. Please don't just sit down and write this and say, here's what I think, uh, you know, Professor Riley, here's what I think. I started to say Damien, but, I'm your professor. I do want to help, but you're going to have to do some research, and you're going to have to show me something beyond what you knew when you came in this class, something you found out. And I got news for you. Some of you will change little bits of your point of view. You may not change your complete point of view. If you're a gun rights person, you're not necessarily going to become a no gun rights person. If you do, you should write a book because all the non-gun rights people will probably buy it. That's pretty amazing when somebody changes their opinion like that. But that just goes to show you how much information have you even read on it, before you have a point. So that's just throwing out some things. I think most of you are very familiar with the structure and what I'm asking for. You will get credit for being here in this Zoom, but I'm not going to do an assignment today. I'm just going to have you guys think about your sources. You're going to need at least 4 sources, and you can rewind and look when I discuss that. That's kind of a bad thing too about recorded lectures. You have to kind of rewind and try and find out where I said it. But you do have to do that. So for this first paper to do well, I don't have your rubric yet. It's coming. But I will say a big, huge part of it is going to be that rebuttal, because that's what's going to set you apart from 101 to the critical thinking of 104. So your no credits, no points. There we go. No point assignment is to get your sources. And I can't just be saying, okay, you get 10 points if you get your sources. No, you're in college, you're in advanced college. So you're going to have to do some work that will show in your final paper, but you won't get points for. Okay. And that's what this is, one of those. You're doing this for the points of the paper, and it takes more than just sitting down with a rubric that I provide you with and checking it off. That is 101. But 104 is, and I'll give you an example. This will be what I close with. When I had 104, I lived in Mission Viejo. I drove to Cal State Fullerton. It was about 40 minutes. Okay. Their library didn't have anything on this topic that I was doing at the time. It was a scientific study in sensory deprivation. And my long paper was called, it was about a 20-page paper. It was called Inside the Dark Room. And I was talking about how when people are isolated, how do they respond? And UCI, which is a very prestigious college, medical college, was about halfway to Cal State Fullerton. And in order to research that paper, I had to go to UCI and get a waiver with my ID from Fullerton, and they would allow Fullerton kids to go in there, young adults. I think I was 25 or 26. But anyway, I'd get Pollo Loco. I'd get a brownie. I'd eat my Pollo Loco and brownie in the parking lot, and then I'd go up into the UCI library, and I would just research the heck out of the place. And I would get all the sources I wanted. I'd make copies. That's not, well, you can't now because libraries are closed. but I used to make copies, of books, and then I would use the cards and I'd put my sources on there. And guys, I always got A's. I think because I enjoyed the process of it. I didn't dread it. I really wanted to do it. So I always try and get my students away from the, oh, I have to, oh, I have to. And a rubric is almost like an, oh, I have to. And I don't feel bad that I haven't put it up yet, because you guys know rubrics. You know me, you know what it's going to be about. But what you don't know is getting sources for your topic. That's what you got to do now. And you're probably going to have to do it at home. I can't think of any other way to do it, to tell you the truth, because libraries aren't open. If they are, if you find one open, go for it. But unfortunately, for this first 104 type class that you're taking in college, you don't really have the UCI library. You don't have access to the Cal State San Bernardino library. You don't have access to even your high school library. So you're going to have to be diligent, and you're going to have to look for those sources, find them. Okay. And guys, I'm just giving it to you the way it was given to me. Don't be lazy. Okay. Don't be lazy and think, cool, it's the end of the Zoom, we're done. No, that's why I zoomed in today partially and didn't do a video, is because I want you guys to hear it from the horse's mouth. We've got other things to talk about. We've got fallacies to talk about, and then we're going to actually create the paper. But right now is the time where you need to be getting your sources, reading them. Did you hear that one? Reading them. One of them at least will be the other side. I always like the brave souls that get a couple of them, maybe, that are the other side. Even if you don't use it, there's something you can do called a works consulted. So if you look at like 3 other books, but you don't cite them in your paper, you can have another page after your works cited called works consulted. And you can look really smart because you'll have those 3, but you will be really smart. That's the thing. I'm trying to make you be really smart, not just look really smart about your topic. Okay. Well, guys, I hope it wasn't too long-winded for you. Can I go ahead and take some questions? If anybody has any. If you don't, that's okay too. I think I said a lot pretty clearly. And it's being recorded. So whenever I start recording, I'll put it up so you can go back through it, okay? If you need to. Any questions? If there's not any questions, you may go. I'll just hang out. If anybody has a question, you can just unmute yourself and tell me. Otherwise, see you guys.
Hello, I have a question, Mr. Arlen.
Yeah, is that Orlando?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's up, buddy?
Um, for the rebuttal, you said that what shows you from from the English class we took last year into this English class is the rebuttal, right?
Um, a rebuttal is just the other side's point of view. So I want you to put that in there in the second reason. Like, you remember how we had the power of 3? We talked about the
Uh-huh.
power of 3 all the time. You're still going to have a power of 3 in this one. And there are other ways to write it. I'm just sticking with that and adding on to it. And then later on, we'll mix it up. But in the middle, you've got that middle paragraph. Okay, so gun rights is wrong because A, kids get shot at home. B, it's in our amendment and we have a right to it. C, whatever. So in that B, you're going to put into it at the bottom. Some people say that we don't need guns like we used to. Okay, so that would be their point of view. Anyway, I'm giving you general things. Does that help or no?
Yeah, that's how. Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
All right, bye, Mr. Oh, and I just want to say one more thing. That one book, the Living Like Weasels, that we did,
Yeah,
it was really good. I was
I'm
really
so
good.
glad. We're still in that book. That's our textbook. I'm so glad you liked it, man.
I read, I was like, wow, this is so. It was
Awesome.
really good, man. All right,
Cool, man.
bye,
All right, I'll talk to you
Arlene.
later.
Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye. That was a good question by Orlando. Anybody else have a question? Okay. Well, if I don't have any questions, then I will wish you a good weekend. You guys have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Ooh, man, Monday for me. So you can go. I'll see you guys. I'm going to log off now.
Mr. Riley,
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, Soraya.
can I email my question because I
Yeah.
don't want to say it outright.
Oh, and that makes perfect sense. I should have given everybody that option. Yeah. You can always email me questions. Well, through the inbox. It's the same as email.
All right.
Okay. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Let me copy my question.
Oh, perfect.
I put it in chat, but no one read it.
Oh, it was in chat. Here we go. I can read it right now. Okay. I hope that helped Orlando. He had a question too. Okay. See you guys. All right. Okay. Tell me what it is again, if you can remember it, Soraya. Your claim. Oh, you wanted to do that privately. I see. Yeah. You tell you what, I'll reply to you in an email right now. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. See you later.
Okay,
Have a
bye.
good day. Enjoy.
You too.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Yes, you too. Every time I do this, it says end meeting.